Naruto ran at Neji with his confident smirk never leaving his face. The blonde threw a punch that was easily blocked by the Hyuga, who countered with a punch of his own. Naruto blocked the punch and threw another. The two engaged in a fury of punches and kicks. The two were even with each blocking every single strike. Most of the crowd was impressed with the blonde since he was trading blows with a Hyuga on equal level. Neji frowned. How is he able to match me in taijutsu? It is my fate to win, not his. The Hyuga thought as he and Naruto threw punches. The blonde threw a clumsy kick and Neji smirked. This was the opening he was waiting for. Neji threw an open palm at Naruto, but his eyes widened when he saw a smirk on Naruto's face. The blonde crouched under the kick before jumping slightly and delivering a headbutt to Neji's jaw. The Hyuga was knocked away and Naruto followed his attack with a punch that made contact with Neji's stomach. Neji was pushed away but managed to strike Naruto's left shoulder. The Hyuga jumped away from the blonde and glared. He couldn't believe that a no-name was able to match him in taijutsu. Naruto's style wasn't better, it was just too random to counter. The blonde would move around with a slight hop on his step and would use random attacks, like the headbutt. Naruto smirked. I thought you were stronger than that. He declared, beating you will be a walk on the park. Fool, Neji said with a glare, I was the victor on our exchange of taijutsu. Just look at your hands. The blonde looked at his hands in confusion and saw small cuts all around them. What the hell? We Hyugas are able to use chakra with each strike, Neji said. We can also strike chakra points with the help of our Byakugan. So what? Naruto exclaimed with a frown, that doesn't mean that you'll win. We shall see about that, Neji said with a frown. Byakugan. Veins appeared around Neji's eye and his pupil became barely visible. Naruto ran at Neji again and threw a punch that was easily blocked. The blonde hopped to his right and threw another punch, but it was knocked away. Neji smirked and struck Naruto on the chest with great force. Naruto sailed through the air before falling on the ground with a hard thud. Now you see that it is impossible for you to win, Neji said. Fate has declared me the winner and no amount of determination will change that. Naruto spit out blood and slowly stood up while clutching his chest. You got one lucky punch on me, he said with a growl. I'll beat some sense into you and show you that fate can be changed. You're a fool, Uzumaki, Neji said with a frown. And damned proud of it. Naruto exclaimed as he ran at Neji. The blonde threw a punch, but it was easily blocked. Naruto didn't let up and threw punch after punch. Neji gritted his teeth, the blonde was awfully close to breaking through his defenses. He had to do something. 8 trigrams palm rotation. Neji yelled. Naruto's eyes widened as Neji started to spin and release chakra. Before Naruto knew what happened, he was struck almost everywhere on his body and was knocked away from Neji. The blonde landed on the ground and gritted his teeth in pain. "Damn," Naruto gasped out as he tried to stand. "You are finished," Neji said, "give up now." Naruto smirked and stood up. "I still have a lot under my sleeve." The blonde spit out some blood before glaring at Neji. "This match just started. There's no way I'm giving up." Neji deactivated his Byakugan and smirked. "I'll show you that fate is on my side. I won't use my Byakugan to fight you and I'll still be victorious." "I'll prove you wrong," Naruto said with a frown. Ino watched Naruto's match from the stands. She was sitting next to Sakura and Choji. In front of her sat Tenten, who had said that Naruto wouldn't be able to beat Neji. Ino had defended her friend, much to the surprise of Sakura, and had told them that Naruto would win. Choji had agreed with her while Sakura thought that Naruto didn't stand a chance. Ino was dressed on her ninja outfit since she told Naruto that she would show him how much she had improved after his matches were over. Ino had a worried look on her face. Naruto was getting pretty hurt while Neji had only been hit twice. She still thought that Naruto could win but made a mental note to scold him for getting hurt. The kunoichi didn't like to see people hurt, which is why she mostly uses her mind attacks to restrict people. For some reason seeing Naruto hurt made her heart wrench. She wanted to keep him safe and hated to see him bloodied and bruised. Ino guessed that she felt this way since he was her friend and hoped that the match would end soon. I told you that he was no match for Neji, Tenten started, he's a Hyuga prodigy and is fighting a nobody. It's no surprise that the blonde is getting beaten. Ino fumed. Naruto is going to win. She exclaimed, he said that he would and he never goes back on his word. Ino's right, Choji said with a grin, Naruto's been training hard with our team. There's no way he'll lose. Naruto's been training with you? Sakura asked in confusion. Choji nodded. He trained like crazy, he said. I don't see him losing after everything he did. Ino nodded with a smile. There's no way he's losing. Ino looked at Naruto and grinned, I know it. Win style. Naruto yelled as he ran through hand signs, devastation. Naruto put his left hand on his mouth and blew into it, creating a powerful gust of wind, blowing away dirt and rubble from the ground. The attack hit Neji with full force and knocked him against the wall. The Hyuga spit out blood and fell on the floor, gasping for air. He stood up slowly only to see two clones running at him. Neji dodged their attacks and hit them on the chest, immediately dispelling them, before catching his breath. Naruto stood in front of Neji with a small smirk. How was that? He taunted, did your precious bloodline see that coming? That attack hit me because of my own mistakes, do not think that it will happen again, Neji said as he got into his fighting stance. We'll see about that, Naruto said with a smirk before throwing a few kunai at Neji. The Hyuga used his own kunai to block Naruto's before charging at him. Neji felt heavier as he ran but dismissed it for the moment. He threw a palm at Naruto but the blonde jumped away and threw a horde of shuriken. Neji blocked them with a single kunai and jumped after Naruto. Neji felt as if he was running slower but focused on his fight. He jumped at Naruto with an open palm that made contact with his chest. Neji smirked when he saw Naruto land painfully on the ground. He had hit a major chakra point and he didn't think that the blonde would be getting up from it. He had been right, the Byakugan wasn't needed on this fight. Neji's eyes widened when he saw Naruto poof into a cloud of smoke. It was a clone. He activated his Byakugan and gasped. The ground was filled with hundreds of different chakra signatures, all belonging to Naruto. Surprise! Naruto yelled as he and hundreds of clones shot off of the ground, let's go! Neji gritted his teeth when he saw all of the clones charging at him. 8 trigrams palm rotation. The clones were dispelled but their sheer number pushed against Neji's dome. The Hyuga feared that they would get past his ultimate defense when he saw more and more clones charging at him. The Hokage smiled. Naruto had improved a lot. The blonde had formulated a great plan and executed it perfectly. Naruto was learning how to be a great ninja and the third had no doubt that the blonde would get far. Impressive boy, the Kazekage commented, he's full of surprises. Indeed he is, the Hokage said, he'll grow into a powerful ninja. Way to go Naruto! Ino cheered with a smile, kicked Neji's ass. She got a few odd looks from the people around her and blushed in embarrassment. Calm down Ino, Sakura said with an odd look. Neji panted as he kept performing his attack. The 8 trigrams palm rotation took a considerable amount of chakra to perform. His reserves were going down and the dome would come down any second. He was sure that the blonde's reserves were going down also since nobody should be able to keep using shadow clones like he was doing. Naruto watched his clones attack the dome and summoned another 10, ordering them to attack. His chakra was going down but it was to be expected since it was part of his plan. All he had to do was wait for Neji's attack to go down and perform the last part of his plan. Naruto grinned when he saw the dome waver slightly, it's almost time. Neji's attack was finally stopped and a swarm of clones jumped at him. 8 trigrams 64 palms. Neji began to attack all the clones with strikes that were barely visible. The Hyuga defeated all of the clones and glared at Naruto. "I am done with this, I will finish you right now." "Let's see you try," Naruto said with a smirk. The two ninja ran at each other. Naruto threw a punch, but it was easily blocked by Neji. The Hyuga countered with an open palm, but Naruto leapt away. The blonde threw a couple of kunai at Neji, who simply jumped away, before running through hand signs. Wind style, devastation, a powerful gust of wind came out of Naruto's mouth. The wind knocked Neji against a tree before Naruto grinned, "I got you." Neji looked up to see a swarm of kunai coming his way. He quickly blocked them with his own before running at the Naruto clones. He stroked one of the chest before dodging a punch. Neji hit another clone on the face and another on the stomach. The Hyuga dodged a kick and countered with an open palm. Ino bit her lip as she witnessed the fight. Naruto's clones weren't hurting Neji, they were pretty much useless against him. She had no idea why Naruto would keep wasting chakra with clones, but knew that he must have a plan. "You can do this, Naruto." Tenten smirked as she watched clone after clone disappear at the hand of Neji. There was no way that her teammate would lose. He was a prodigy and the strongest genin. She felt sorry for the blonde. He was putting a lot into the match, but his attacks only stalled Neji instead of hurting him. Neji panted once he finished the last clone. They were way too annoying and no match for him, no matter how many were used. He ran at the real Naruto, 8 trigrams 64 palms. Naruto could do nothing as each strike hit home. Neji smirked, losing his Hyuga coolness, as the attacks hit the helpless blonde. His attack finally ended and the blonde fell on the ground with a thud. "This match is over," Neji said with his cool and collected attitude back. "Fate can never be changed." The ground started to shake and Naruto disappeared in a cloud of smoke. Neji's eyes widened when 2 Narutos shot off the ground. Naruto blew into his hand and formed a ball while the other clone took hold of Naruto's free arm. The clone flung Naruto at Neji. "This is it." The blonde yelled as he approached Neji and extended his arm, wind style, spiraling wind ball. The attack hit Neji on the chest and the Hyuga was thrown away from Naruto. Neji hit the wall with a cry and lost consciousness. Naruto panted as he watched Neji's unconscious figure. The blonde broke into a grin and threw an arm on the air with a laugh. "Winner, Naruto Uzumaki," Ganma declared as a couple of medic ninja took Neji away. "All right." Naruto cheered as he left the fight area. The crowd cheered for the good fight and Naruto waved at the crowd. "He did it." Ino cheered with a smile. "Way to go, Naruto." Choji cheered. "I can't believe it," Tenten said with a look of disbelief. "How did Neji lose?" "That was a good plan, Naruto," Shikamaru said with a smirk. Naruto grinned while Shino raised a brow. "What plan are you talking about?" the bug user asked. Naruto hid some clones around the fight area that would throw weaker versions of wind style, devastation, Shikamaru explained. Since the attacks were weak, Neji didn't notice them, but they were hitting him constantly. That's why Neji was slower than Naruto whenever they ran. "I see," Shino said with a nod. "That really was a good plan." "Attention," Ganma started. "Because Sasuke Uchiha hasn't shown up, we will continue with the other matches." Shikamaru groaned. "Man, that means that my match will be moved up. My match hasn't even started, but it's already a pain in the ass." "I need Shino and Kankuro to come down," Ganma said. Shino prepared to go down while Kankuro stayed still. "I forfeit," Kankuro declared. The crowd booed the sand ninja. Tamari smirked and jumped down to the fight area. She held out her fan and looked at the proctor. "What's up with you?" Ganma asked. "It's my turn now, isn't it?" Tamari said while looking at Shikamaru. Ganma shook his head. Genin were always full of themselves. "Shikamaru, come on down." "This is complete crap," Shikamaru thought as he leaned on the railing. "Why do I have to fight? Maybe I should just forfeit like that Kankuro guy?" Naruto saw the lazy look on Shikamaru's face and grinned. He went behind the lazy genius and pushed him off the railing. "Get out there, Shikamaru." Shikamaru landed on his back and groaned, "Why does Naruto have to be so damn troublesome? I'd rather stare at the clouds than fight some girl." Temari glared at Shikamaru. The lazy idiot was just lying there and didn't appear to be interested in fighting her. The crowd started to boo Shikamaru while he just ignored everyone. Danma just sighed and shook his head. He couldn't believe Shikamaru's laziness. "That's it," Temari exclaimed with a frown. "If you're not attacking, then I am." With that, Temari held up her fan and ran at Shikamaru. "Man," Shikamaru thought, "I knew blondes were troublesome the minute I met Naruto and Ino. I don't feel like doing anything, but I also don't feel like losing to a girl." Temari brought her fan down on Shikamaru but gasped when she saw that he wasn't there anymore. She looked around and found him leaning against a tree with his hands on his pockets. "If you're so hyped about fighting me, then let's get to it," Shikamaru said. He took out some kunai and threw them at the girl. Temari used her fan to blow the kunai away but frowned when she saw that Shikamaru had disappeared again. "Where the hell is he?" she muttered to herself. Asuma watched his student with a smirk. Kurenai was sitting next to him and she had a look of worry on her face. While Asuma trusted in his student's abilities, Kurenai didn't know what to think of the lazy genius. She had heard that Shikamaru was lazy, but she never expected him to act like that in the middle of a match. "Don't worry, Kurenai," Asuma said. "Shikamaru might not look it, but he's a genius." Kurenai gave a confused look. "But I saw his test scores and they were almost as bad as Naruto's." Asuma shook his head. "Don't let those two fool you," he stared at his student with a smirk. "Shikamaru and Naruto are a lot smarter than they let on." Shikamaru didn't do well on his tests because he thought it was too troublesome to pick up his pencil to write, while Naruto cared more about being the center of attention than some test. "Naruto just started to take his training seriously," Asuma continued. "He's been training with my team and his motivation made my students take their training seriously also. Choji was there from time to time, but he had to return to the hospital after a few hours." Kurenai looked at Shikamaru in a new light. "I see. Shikamaru treats his matches like a shogi game," Asuma explained. "He uses many different strategies to put his opponent in a position where giving up is the only way out. I've never been able to beat him in a game of shogi, and I know that he will win this using only his mind." Shikamaru was resting against a tree that was near the wall of the fight area. The place was shadowed so he would be able to have some peace. He thought of ways of defeating the blonde but groaned when he heard her swinging her fan around. That girl was way too troublesome. "I might as well get this over with," Shikamaru said to himself. "Damn him," Temari muttered as she swung her fan. She had been using wind jutsu around the fight area in order to get Shikamaru out of his hiding place. The kunoichi was about to swing her fan again but stopped when she saw a shadow approaching her. She jumped away and found Shikamaru standing on the shadows. "So you finally decided to come out?" Temari said while noticing that the shadow could not reach her past 10 meters. Shikamaru sighed. "It's a real pain in the ass, but I'll fight seriously." The teen threw 2 kunai at the girl who easily blew them away. Temari watched Shikamaru in confusion. Surely his plan wasn't throwing kunai around. Even someone like him should have a kind of plan. She swung her fan, creating a huge gust of wind that knocked Shikamaru back a couple of feet. Temari prepared to attack again but jumped away when she saw a shadow coming towards her. The shadow passed its 10-meter limit and chased after her. She looked up and saw that Shikamaru had used a kunai as a parachute in order to create more shadows for him to use. She leapt away until the shadow finally stopped. Temari sighed in relief and prepared to use her fan but noticed that she couldn't move. "What's going on?" she asked herself in panic. Shikamaru chuckled. "Just look at where you are." Temari looked around and noticed that she was in between 2 trees. Her eyes widened when she remembered that Shikamaru had been at the same place when he started the match. She looked at her arms and saw that they were wrapped in a strong wire. How did you? I wasn't just looking at clouds when I was lying there, Shikamaru explained. I was thinking of a way to beat you without too much trouble. When you ran at me and I leapt away, I threw a couple of kunai with ninja wire at those 2 trees. But there's more than 2 wires, Temari argued. Yes, but as the match progressed I put more wire, Shikamaru said as he pointed at the wire that were wrapped around her legs. All those kunai that I threw in my shadow possession jutsu were just decoys while I set up the real trap. Why, you? Temari said through gritted teeth as Shikamaru walked towards her with a kunai on hand. Now, the teen said with a smirk as he put the kunai on Temari's throat, checkmate. Ganma grinned in approval. Winner is Shikamaru Nara. The crowd cheered while Shikamaru calmly made his way back to the small balcony where the participants waited their turn. He had thought of giving up but decided against it when he remembered all the training his team and Naruto went through. Naruto had made him take his training a little more seriously, but it was still too troublesome, and not to mention that since Ino started to train harder she had forced him to put more effort into it. Those annoying blondes would be the death of him. Way to go, Shikamaru! Ino cheered with a smile. Choji couldn't believe his eyes. His teammate had actually done a considerable amount of work and didn't give up. Choji honestly thought that Shikamaru would end up giving up or just pretending to be unconscious, but he had won. That was a great match, Sakura said with a smile. Choji nodded. I didn't think that Shikamaru would actually win. I thought that he would have ended up giving up or something. Ino smiled. Yeah, but I think he's starting to be more serious about being a ninja. Anyway, Sakura interrupted, Sasuke's match is up next. Everyone is waiting for that match, Choji said. I hope it's as good as everyone is making it out to be. Yeah, Ino agreed with a thoughtful look. I wonder if it'll be as good as Naruto's. Sakura frowned. Of course it'll be better than stupid Naruto's, she said. Sasuke is a lot stronger than Naruto and he'll wipe the floor with that Gaara guy. Watch it forehead, Ino said with scowl. Just because Naruto isn't here doesn't mean that you can talk down on him. What did you call me, Ino pig? Sakura said with a glare. The air grew tense and Choji was stuck in the middle. He knew how close Ino and Naruto had gotten and knew that it was a bad move to talk bad about him in front of her. For some reason, Ino had grown protective of Naruto and she was downright scary when someone talked badly of him. I really wish I wasn't here right now, Choji thought as the 2 girls continued to glare at each other. That was great, Shikamaru, Naruto said with a grin once Shikamaru went back to the balcony. Shikamaru sighed and leaned on the railing. I should have forfeited the match, it would have been less troublesome that way. Naruto chuckled. But if you forfeited then you would have been chewed out by Ino. You're right, Shikamaru said with a nod, nothing is more troublesome than dealing with an angry female. Attention, Ganma announced, we will give Sasuke Uchiha a total of 5 minutes to arrive. If he doesn't then he will be disqualified. Do you think he'll show up? Shikamaru asked. Perhaps it was wise of him to not have shown up, Shino said in an emotionless voice. Naruto shook his head. He'll be here, he said, he's not the kind of person to run away from a challenge. What is Sasuke doing? Why is he taking so long? Choji asked with a frown. He'll get here, Sakura said with a sad expression, he has to. You idiot, Ino whispered to Choji, can't you see she's all gloomy? You don't have to make her even sadder by stating the obvious. Where is Sasuke? Asked Lee, who had just arrived, along with Guy, on a pair of crutches. Lee. Sakura and Ino greeted with smiles. Sasuke hasn't arrived yet, Choji said. I see, Lee said with a serious look, I was hoping to see how much he has improved. Don't worry, Lee, Sakura said with a smile, Sasuke will come. Did you see Naruto's match? Ino asked with an exited smile. Lee shook his head, you should have seen it. He completely wiped the floor with that guy. Choji's sweat dropped. It was actually a close match, but I shouldn't say anything. I don't want Ino mad at me, Choji thought as he dug into his last bag of chips. The 5 minutes have passed, Ganma announced, Sasuke Uchiha is disqual dash. Ganma was interrupted by a whirlwind next to him. When the whirlwind died down, Kakashi and Sasuke could be seen. Sasuke wore a black version of his normal clothes while Kakashi had a hand on his book and the other on his pocket. Hey there, Kakashi said, I hope we're not too late. You're just in time, Ganma said. Hey Sasuke. Naruto yelled from the balcony. The blonde grinned, nice to see you made it. Sasuke smirked. I wouldn't have missed this for the world, he said back, did you win your match? Of course. Naruto said with a smile, you better win yours so I can kick your ass later. Sasuke smirked and turned to Gaara. The Sand Ninja looked at Sasuke with no emotion on his eyes before jumping down to the fight area. This will be a hard fight, Naruto said to Shikamaru. Shikamaru frowned. You want to tell me what's going on? Naruto looked surprised and Shikamaru continued, you're always wary of that guy ever since the hospital incident. I know I'll regret this later, but tell me what's up with that guy. Naruto sighed and ran a hand through his hair. Gaara wasn't lying. Naruto said. Shikamaru gave him an odd look and Naruto turned his gaze towards Gaara. He really does have a demon sealed inside of him. What? Shikamaru asked in shock, how do you even know he wasn't just bluffing? Naruto turned his gaze to the ground and frowned. He couldn't just tell people that he knew Gaara had a demon inside of him because he had one also. The blonde contemplated the idea of telling Shikamaru the truth. But, could he do it? Would Naruto be able to share his deepest secret and risk losing a friend? Ch7 New Mission. Naruto's in charge. Naruto was not an emotionally stable person, the mask he wore around people was proof enough of that. Growing up alone and being ignored by everyone made Naruto cherish whatever kind of relationship he could have with other people. He didn't care if people thought of him as an idiot, as long as his existence was acknowledged. Naruto didn't care about looking bad. It was no surprise that the blonde panicked when Shikamaru asked how he was so sure of Gaara having a demon inside of him. Shikamaru watched Naruto with a questioning look. The blonde seemed to be having an internal battle. He guessed that this was a sensitive subject for Naruto, but he didn't know why. Shikamaru had always been an observant person and had been able to notice the way people looked at Naruto. Every time they would look at him with cold eyes, Naruto would get a sad look on his eyes. The genius noticed that Naruto had that same sad look at the moment. Putting two and two together, Shikamaru immediately knew that the looks people gave him had something to do with what Gaara had said on the hospital. How do you he has a demon inside of him, Naruto? Shikamaru asked once again. Naruto clenched his left fist before relaxing it. Just a feeling I have. He exclaimed with a smile plastered on his face. Shikamaru was about to call him a liar but saw the look on Naruto's eye, a look of pain and desperation. Fine, he said with a sigh, what do you plan on doing about Gaara? I'm not sure, Naruto admitted, we should see how Sasuke does against him and if things look bad I'll enter the fight. You'll be disqualified if you interrupt a fight, Shikamaru said with a frown. Naruto smiled. I know, he glanced at Sasuke and Gaara with a smirk, but I really want to fight Sasuke so I can't let him get killed. Man, Shikamaru said with a sigh, I guess I'll help if the situation comes. You should also watch your backs, Shino said from behind Naruto. Naruto jumped away with a yelp. What the hell, Shino? Don't just appear behind people's backs. He exclaimed with an angry look. What did you mean, Shino? Shikamaru asked with a frown. Whatever it was, Shikamaru knew that it would be a pain in the ass. I overheard the Sand Shinobi talking about a plan, Shino said. I'm not sure what that plan is, but my bugs have detected small spikes of chakra throughout the village's outskirts that disappear before being traced. This means that whatever they're planning is big. Just what I needed, Shikamaru said with a groan. I should have never gotten out of bed. Do you think we should tell the Hokage? Naruto asked in a serious tone. Shino shook his head. I'm not really sure, he explained. I noticed that there are several Umbu around the crowd, so he probably already knows. I still have to tell him, Naruto said, even if he already knows. I'll feel better if I know for sure. All right, Shino said with a nod, you're right, it's best to make sure that the Hokage is aware of the situation. Naruto smiled. I'll go see him right now, the blonde said. You guys stick close to the sand ninja in case they try anything. What about Gaara? Shikamaru asked. Let Sasuke fight him for a while, Naruto said before grinning. He's more than capable of holding him back. Sasuke stared at Gaara with a frown. Kakashi had helped him increase his speed and master Lee's taijutsu style. The Jonin had even taught him a move that would be of great help against the sand ninja. Not to mention the aid his Sharingan would give him on the fight. The Uchiha knew that he would win and smirked. Are you two ready? Ganma asked, receiving nods from the two genin. Okay then, begin. Sharingan coming to life, Sasuke ran at Gaara in an inhuman speed. Gaara simply stood where he was and calmly unleashed his sand. Sasuke faked a punch, making Gaara use his sand to cover, and smirked. The Uchiha disappeared from sight, in an amazing show of speed, and appeared behind Gaara. The sand ninja used his sand to strike Sasuke, but the Sharingan saw the move coming. Sasuke leaned to the right, dodging the sand, and threw a punch that made contact with Gaara's jaw. The redhead sailed through the air before falling on the ground with a painful thud. Gaara stood up and glared at Sasuke. What's wrong? Is that all you got? Sasuke asked with a smirk. You're no match for me. I'll kill you, Gaara hissed. Let's see if it's not the other way around, Sasuke said as he ran at Gaara. Gaara tried to hit Sasuke with sand but found that the Uchiha was too fast, much like Lee. Sasuke watched the sand chasing him and smirked. He ran around Gaara before running directly at him. Gaara's eyes widened as Sasuke's foot made contact with his jaw. The sand ninja sailed through the air before meeting ground once again. I have to finish this now, Sasuke said through pants. In order to move so fast, Sasuke needed to constantly enhance his leg muscles with chakra. This meant that he was limited to only using taijutsu while on that speed. Gaara's sand enveloped the redhead and created a dome around him. Sasuke threw kunais at it but watched as they bounced off of it. Like he guessed, the density of the sand made it as strong as steel. The only way he could end the match would be to use the new jutsu Kakashi had taught him. Sasuke ran to the top of the arena's wall and gathered his chakra into his left hand. He gave a quick glance at Gaara and saw what appeared to be an eyeball forming on top of the sand dome. Sasuke didn't know what his opponent was doing, but whatever Gaara was planning had to be stopped. Sasuke got the feeling that it would be a strong jutsu, so it was better to stop it before it was performed. Sasuke was brought out of his thoughts when he heard the sound of chirping birds and smirked. The match would be over soon. Don't tell me you taught him that jutsu. Guy exclaimed in shock as he turned his gaze to the masked Jonin standing next to him. Kakashi had met with them after dropping Sasuke off in the fight area. That's the reason why I wanted him as my student, Kakashi said. He's much like me apart from the Sharingan. But to teach him that move, Guy said with a frown. He knows the restrictions of that move, he can handle it, Kakashi said with an eye smile. It's ready, Sasuke thought with a smirk. Sasuke ran at Gaara with a yell. His attack would be able to get through the sand, there was no doubt. Sand shot out of the dome, but the Sharingan saw each move. Sasuke leaned to the left to dodge an oncoming shot of sand before spinning to the right to avoid a large wave of sand. The sand went back to Gaara, but it would be a few seconds before it could strike again, more than enough time for Sasuke. Chidori! Sasuke yelled as the attack pierced through the dome. What is this? Gaara thought from inside of the dome with a hand inside of his left shoulder. What is this feeling, mother? It feels wet and hot, what is it? A single droplet was heard and Gaara's eyes widened. It's blood, he whispered, Blood. My blood. Gaara's scream was heard throughout the arena, scaring most of the crowd and even a few ninja. The dome of sand fell apart and Gaara clutched his head in pain. The Uchiha knew that something was off by the look on Gaara's eyes, but knew that he would still win the match. Naruto ran through the hallways of the arena. He had to let the Hokage know that the Sand Ninja were planning to do something. The blonde refused to let any outsiders endanger the life of his friends. He exited the hallway and found himself only a few steps away from the Hokage's balcony. Naruto heard a scream and looked at the fight area where Gaara was seen clutching his head. The blonde knew that this wouldn't be the end of Gaara, someone like him wouldn't go out so easily. Sasuke had done a good job, regardless, and he would jump in to help once he spoke to the Hokage. I knew you could do it, Sasuke, just hang on, Naruto thought as he ran to the Hokage's balcony but noticed that there were feathers floating around him. What is this? Gaara is hurt, Temari said with a look of disbelief. She noticed that many people were put to sleep and gave a nod to her brother. It started. We have to get Gaara to his position. Kankuro nodded. You're right, he said, it would be bad to have him transform here. The two prepared to jump down to the fight area to get Gaara but found that they were unable to move. Shadow possession success, Shikamaru said with a smirk. The two siblings growled at the shadow user. Before they could say anything, the two were knocked out by Shino. The bug user had devised a plan in case the two sand siblings made a move and it had gone perfectly. The two genin saw many ninja jump out of the stands and attack the leaf ninja. Soon, battles broke out all throughout the stands. The enemy ninja wore sand and sound headbands, meaning that it had been worse than what Shino had thought. Looks like I was right, Shino said. Hopefully Naruto made it to the Hokage. Don't worry about him, Shikamaru said with a smirk, he'll make it there. What we have to worry about is what our next move will be. We should just attack the enemy ninja, Shino said. It's not subtle, but it's the only thing we can do at this point. Shikamaru shook his head. We have to plan our next move. It won't be smart to just charge in, he explained. They must have an ace in the hole. I don't think that they just planned on attacking head-on. Frontal attacks are always used as distractions. All we have to do is find their secret weapon and take it down. What is that secret weapon? Shino asked. Shikamaru glanced at Gaara. I think I know what it is. Gaara clutched his head in pain. His mother was angry at him for not doing a good job on killing the Uchiha. Her screams were loud and Gaara tried to reason with her but to no avail. Only killing the Uchiha would make her stop screaming at him. Calm down, Gaara. Baki yelled as he appeared next to Gaara. You have to follow the mission. Nobody will leave this spot, Ganma said with a frown. Damn, Baki growled. Gaara, I want you to leave while I take care of this man. Sasuke, Ganma said with a serious look, I want you to make Gaara leave the village. I have a feeling that they want to use him for something big. What about my match? Sasuke asked with a scowl. The exams are cancelled, Ganma answered. Your village needs you now, so go. Sasuke growled, but nodded. Hey Gaara. The Uchiha called out, let's finish our match somewhere else. Gaara hissed as he watched Sasuke leave the arena. He couldn't leave. His mother wanted the Uchiha's blood and she would have it. Gaara would make sure of that. If he killed the Uchiha, then his mother wouldn't be angry at him anymore and she would stop hurting him. His existence would be proven with the death of the Uchiha. Get back here. Gaara yelled as he ran after Sasuke. Ino felt tired and didn't know why. She had been watching Sasuke's match and it had been interesting. It wasn't as good as Naruto's in her opinion, but it was a good match nonetheless. Her eyelids felt heavy, and she made a note that maybe she was training too hard. She felt a hand on her shoulder and her eyes snapped open. You're on a genjutsu, Kakashi said with his hand on her shoulder. He took it off and placed a hand on Choji, release. What? Choji muttered as he woke up. Listen up you two, Kakashi said, getting the attention of the two genin. Shoji, I want you to stay here and keep the villagers safe. What are you talking about? Ino asked in slight fear. There's a battle going on, Kakashi explained. Ino and Shoji looked around and noticed several ninja fighting with ninjas from the Sand and Sound villages. Ino, I want you to find Naruto and tell him to go help Sasuke out. Right, Ino said with a nod. Kakashi ran through hand signs and slammed his hands onto an unconscious man's back. Summoning Jutsu, a small white dog with a Konoha headband as a collar appeared. I want you to look for a scent of sand moving away from the village. Got it, the dog said with a nod. Ino, I want you to tell Naruto to follow this dog, Kakashi instructed. It will take him to where Sasuke is. Go now. I'll find Naruto, Ino said with a nod as she and the dog left. Shikamaru! Sakura exclaimed when she entered the participants' balcony. What is it? Shikamaru asked before turning to the small dog next to Sakura. Whose dog is that? I'm not just a dog. My name is Pakin and I am a ninja dog, the dog said. There's no time for introductions, Sakura said in slight panic. Kakashi-sensei told me get you guys to go after Sasuke so you can help him out. How do we find them? Shino asked. Leave that to me, Pakin said with pride. I have his scent, so just follow me. Let's go, Shino said. Pakin, Shino and Sakura leapt out of the arena while Shikamaru groaned. Man, Shikamaru said with a groan, what did I do to deserve this? The teen thought of just staying there but knew that the village needed his help. With a sigh, Shikamaru leapt out of the arena and followed after his comrades. Naruto felt a burning sensation on his left wrist. He lifted his left glove to see a small seal flashing red before returning to its normal black color. The blonde quickly spiked his chakra and watched as the feathers around him disappeared. I guess I have to thank Jiraiya-sensei for putting that seal on me, Naruto muttered to himself with a small grin. He heard an explosion and saw that it came from the roof of the Hokage's balcony. The blonde's eyes widened and he clenched his fists. The third was once of his precious people and the person that kept the village from falling apart. He wouldn't let anybody hurt him. He saw a group of ANBU jumping towards the Hokage. For fake ANBU attacked the group, but a single one with a white cloak charged at them. Naruto watched in awe as the single ANBU defeated the 4 enemy ninja, disguised as ANBU, in just a few moves. The smoke coming from the explosion engulfed everything around it, but Naruto saw the outline of a person jump out of one of the corpses. Naruto gasped when he saw that the figure was jumping towards where the Hokage was. Naruto gritted his teeth when he saw that shadows leapt out of the other bodies with the same destination, the Hokage. The blonde quickly formulated a plan and summoned a single clone. Throw me up there as hard as you can, Naruto ordered. The clone complied and flung the blonde towards one of the jumping figures. Naruto sailed through the air and made out one of the figures. It was an overweight ninja with an orange mohawk, wearing an outfit similar to Orochimaru's. The blonde was heading straight at him and readied his right fist. Before the sound ninja that was headed towards the Hokage could register what happened, he felt something hard connect with his gut. His eyes widened and all air left his body. He tried to see what had hit him but received a kick on the head that slammed him towards the ground. The sound ninja landed on the fight area of the arena with a loud thud. Got him, Naruto thought with a grin before following after the ninja. Now, tell me what you want with the Hokage, Naruto exclaimed in anger. The ninja stood up slowly and glared at the blonde. Are you the one who attacked me? And I'm the one who will kill you if you don't tell me what I want to know, Naruto said with a frown. I don't know what you guys are planning to do, but if you threaten those precious to me, then I'll have to kick your ass. I don't care about who's important to you. I will kill you for ruining our plans, the sound ninja said. My name is Jirobo and I'm the one who will kill you. Naruto smirked. I'm Naruto Uzumaki, future Hokage of the Leaf Village. Sasuke panted as he ran through the woods outside of Konoha. He was eager to fight Gaara but knew that fighting him near the village would only get him distracted. It would only be him against Gaara, the perfect way to end his match with the Sand Ninja. His training with Kakashi had made him a new person and Gaara would pose no threat to him. Sasuke landed on a large clearing and smirked at Gaara, who landed in front of him. "We will settle our match here, Gaara." "I will kill you," Gaara said with a psychotic glare. "You're no match for an Uchiha," Sasuke said as his Sharingan came to life. Orochimaru growled as he stood in front of his old sensei. The blonde brat had put a major damper on his plans. The Snake Sannin had planned this attack in order to get closer to Sasuke and deal a harsh blow on his home village. He had been looking forward to killing the Hokage, but now he was forced to leave before things got too heated. He watched the fights going on around the arena and smirked when he saw several Sand Ninja being killed. He couldn't believe how naive their village was. It only took him a few pretty words to get them riled up for the attack. His eyes narrowed when he saw Jirobo. The Snake Sannin would make him regret letting his guard down. The Snake Summoner turned to the three members of the Sound Four, faithfully standing by his side. "I want you to kill the blonde brat," Orochimaru told his ninja. "Leave as soon as you do or if things get too hard." "Yes sir," the three said before leaving the spot. "Are you okay, third Hokage?" asked the ANBU with the white cloak in concern, while five more stood in front of Orochimaru with weapons on their hands. "I'm fine," Sarutobi said. "I want you to find some help for Naruto." "As you wish sir," the ANBU said before disappearing in a swirl of leaves. My, you give me a lot of attention, Sarutobi-sensei," Orochimaru said with a chuckle, amused at the ANBU who thought they would kill him. "You will die here, Orochimaru," Sarutobi said with a frown. "I don't believe I will," Orochimaru said as he turned into a pile of mud before disappearing into the ground. "Find him quick," the third Hokage ordered. Some of the ANBU chased after Orochimaru while most of them stayed with the Hokage. "We need to take you to a safe place," an ANBU said. Sarutobi nodded. "Very well, there's not much I can do except be there to guide my people when this is over." "Wind style, wind wave!" Naruto yelled as a small wave of wind came out of his hands. The attack hit Jirobo dead on but did little to no damage. Damn it. Naruto had been fighting Jirobo by keeping a safe distance between the two and using long-range attacks. His wind jutsu proved to be no match for Jirobo's large figure and earth jutsu. The Sound Ninja hadn't been able to land a hit on him, which Naruto was grateful for, since he had seen what Jirobo's punches could do. "Stop running away, you piece of trash!" Jirobo yelled as he threw a large boulder at Naruto. The blonde jumped away but was suddenly struck on the back. He fell on the ground with a painful thud and jumped away quickly when he saw a kind of web shooting towards him. Naruto looked at the newcomers and gritted his teeth. There were now 4 Sound Ninja against him. "You're having trouble with this one, fatty?" A kunoichi with red hair asked with a smirk. "I told you not to call me that, Tayuya," Jirobo said with a frown. "It might not be Jirobo's fault. The kid ruined Master Orochimaru's plans and dodged an attack from Kadamaru," said a Sound Ninja with blue hair, "but dodging an attack from him isn't so hard anyway." "Watch it, Sakan," Kadamaru said with a snarl. Tayuya smirked. "What are you going to do about it, shitstain? You're the weakest from the group next to fat ass." Wind style, devastation. Naruto blew a powerful gust out of his mouth. The attack hit home but only managed to knock Kadamaru against the wall while everyone else dodged, or in Jirobo's case, planted his feet on the ground. "You got some nerve, shithead," Tayuya said with a hiss. "We will make sure your death is not pretty," said a head coming out of Sakan's back. "Let's have some fun with him first, Yukon," Sakan said with a twisted smile. "Wait, there are only 3 of them. Where did the other one go?" Naruto thought while looking around for the 4th member. "Here I am." Jirobo yelled from under the ground. The earth beneath Naruto's feet gave out and he received a powerful punch on his jaw. The blonde sailed through the air before crashing into the arena's wall. Naruto fell to the ground and tried to stand but fell back down. His vision was blurry and everything seemed to spin. That Jirobo really packed a punch. He had been smart to stay away from him at first. Jirobo had been enough trouble as it was, but with the rest of the Sound 4 joining in, things became a lot more difficult. "You damned piece of trash!" Kadamaru yelled as he stood up. He had a large gash on the left side of his face and what appeared to be a broken nose. "I'll make you pay for catching me off guard." Kadamaru ran at him, blinded by rage, while Naruto stood up slowly. "Wind style," Naruto muttered as he went through 4 hand signs, "air bullets." The blonde put a hand around his mouth and shot out several balls of air. The attack struck Kadamaru on the chest and one struck him on the head, knocking him unconscious. Naruto grinned when he saw the ninja go down. The Sound Ninja had underestimated him and paid for it, but he knew that the others wouldn't make the same mistake. The ground shook beneath Naruto and his eyes widened. Forgot about him, Naruto thought as he jumped in order to avoid the attack. The blonde felt a foot connect with his head and cried in pain as he fell to the ground. He managed to regain his footing and landed safely on the ground, but when he did he was painfully reminded that Jirobo was still fighting. The blonde received a punch to the gut that sent him crashing against a tree. "You're not very good," Sakan said with a chuckle. Shut up," Naruto said while standing up shakily. His head was throbbing and there was a trail of blood covering the right side of his face. The blonde took out a single kunai and pointed it at Jirobo. "What are you going to do with that?" Jirobo asked with a smirk. "You won't even be able to hit me with that little knife." Naruto threw the kunai at Jirobo but ran through 2 hand signs and pointed his palm at it. "Wind style, gale palm." A stream of wind hit the kunai and increased its speed, taking Jirobo by surprise. Jirobo tried to dodge, but the kunai stabbed into his right arm. "Damn you!" he exclaimed in anger. "I will kill you for this." "You deserve that, fatty," Taiyuya said with an amused smirk. Naruto slipped into his taijutsu stance and looked at his opponents. From the way they talked to each other, he assumed that they were stronger than Jirobo. Naruto didn't know how he fared against Jirobo since he had only taken Kadamaru out due to the Sound Ninja just charging at him. So far the Taiyuya girl hadn't done anything, but Naruto knew that she was strong since she didn't appear to be intimidated by her teammates. "Naruto," the blonde heard from the stands. He turned to his right and saw Ino running towards him. "Looks like we have company," Sakan said with a smirk. "Take care of her, Jirobo." Naruto's eyes widened and he saw Jirobo charge at Ino. The blonde immediately ran after him at a speed he didn't know he had. He watched as Jirobo raised his fist and Ino's eyes widened in surprise. The Sound Ninja brought his fist down, but before it could make contact he received a powerful punch on his jaw. Jirobo sailed through the air before crashing against the arena's wall. "What are you doing here?" Naruto asked harshly with his hand aching slightly from the punch he delivered. "Don't talk to me like that." Ino snapped with a frown. "You can't be here, Ino. You'll get hurt," Naruto exclaimed in concern. Ino's eyes softened and she gave a small smile. "I'm a ninja too, Naruto," she said. "I'm able to take care of myself. I've been training hard to do so. But I can't let you get hurt," Naruto said with desperation on his eyes. "Naruto," Ino said with a sad smile, "remember what you told me when I asked why you trained so hard? You said that you wanted to get stronger so you would be able to help your friends and not be a burden." "Ino," Naruto said sadly. He knew that Ino felt like a burden and had been working hard in order to be considered important. Right now, he was making her feel like a burden. "Please Naruto," Ino said in desperation, "let me help you. I'll show you that I can take care of myself." "Fine," Naruto said with a small grin, "I guess 3-2 are better odds." "Unfortunately you won't be fighting them," Kakashi said as he jumped in front of them. "Kakashi-sensei?" Naruto asked in confusion. "I'll be fighting these 3, Kakashi said before turning to Ino. "I believe you had something to do." "Right," Ino said with a nod. "Naruto, we have to go help Sasuke with Gaara." "Sasuke's is still fighting him?" Naruto asked in disbelief. He is. That ninja dog will take you to where they are, Kakashi explained. This is an A-rank mission and you're in charge, Naruto. Remember to take care of your comrades and protect the village at all costs. I got it, Kakashi-sensei, Naruto said before nodding at Ino. Let's go, Ino said to the dog. The ninja dog nodded and leapt out of the arena with Naruto and Ino following. Now, Kakashi said with an eye smile as he turned to the three-sound ninja, I'll finish what my student started. Damn it, Kyuubi cursed with a snarl. The one-eyed Jonin would be a strong foe. He was Kakashi, a man who was said to have copied over 1,000 jutsu. Fighting someone like him would be suicide even if all of the Sound Four fought together. We have no choice but to escape, Sakan whispered to his two teammates. Jirobo, you will carry Kadamaru while I buy us some time. The big sound ninja nodded in understanding while Sakan got into a fighting stance. If he could get his brother inside of Kakashi, then their escape would be successful. He would need a distraction to get close. The Jonin wouldn't mind him being close since he doubted that Kakashi knew about his bloodline. Kyuubi would be useful in distracting the Jonin with her genjutsu, but Kakashi's Sharingan would see through it. Going into the Curse Seal Level 2 was out of the question since Orochimaru had forbidden them from using it during the invasion. Nice to see that you're communicating with your team, Kakashi said with an eye smile. Why don't you stay on the village so you can teach my team a thing or two about teamwork? Damn! He's just messing with us, Sakan thought with a frown. He glanced at his teammates and saw that Jirobo was getting ready to sprint to Kadamaru's fallen form while Kyuubi stood near him. At least those two are in position. With a nod to his teammates, Sakan charged at Kakashi. The sound ninja tried to punch Kakashi, but the Jonin Dimplai leaned to the right. He tried a kick, but Kakashi jumped over his leg before delivering a kick of his own. Sakan sailed through the air but managed to regain his balance and landed on the ground safely. Jirobo slung Kadamaru's unconscious body over his shoulder and gave a firm nod to Kyuubi. The Kunoichi smirked. They were ready. Sakan charged at Kakashi once more. The Jonin inwardly sighed. The sound ninja didn't know how to control their emotions. They were skilled, but letting emotions control their actions was a big disadvantage. The sound shinobi threw a punch that Kakashi caught easily. Sakan smirked before received a backhand to the face. He felt some teeth leave his mouth as he was knocked back by the strong strike. He was finally knocked against the ground but managed to smirk. Kakashi's eyes narrowed when he saw Sakan smirk. Something was off, but the Jonin didn't know what. He felt his hand twitch involuntarily before it reached into his kunai holster. The hand pulled out a kunai and put it to his neck. Sakan chuckled. I got you, he said with an evil smirk. My brother and I have a bloodline that lets us go inside other people's bodies and control them. Your brother? Kakashi asked in confusion. A head came out of Kakashi's shoulder and grinned. Yes, a brother, Yukon said before running the kunai through Kakashi's neck. Gaara's sand shot at Sasuke from all directions. Sasuke used his enhanced speed to dodge the sand. Gaara glared as the sand continued chasing after the Uchiha. His mother would get the blood she wanted. Sasuke could run all he wanted, but his mother would quench her thirst in the end. Sasuke gritted his teeth as he rolled on the ground in order to avoid another shot of sand. Gaara was attacking from all directions and not giving him time to counter. If he wanted to hurt the sand ninja, then he had to drop his enhanced speed. Doing this would leave him vulnerable to attacks, but it would give him the power he needed to bring Gaara down. The Uchiha jumped up a tree before coming to a rest on a branch. He ran through hand signs and put a hand on his mouth. Fire style, fireball jutsu. A large ball of flame shot out of Sasuke's mouth. The fireball flew towards Gaara, but before the attack could hurt the redhead, a large wall created of sand appeared before him. The fireball clashed against the wall of sand before bursting and creating a large explosion. Sasuke shielded his eyes from the explosion. He didn't notice the stream of sand making its way towards him before it was too late. The sand gripped his foot and flung him towards a tree. Sasuke sailed through the air but regained his balance and used his feet to bounce off the tree. Gaara's eyes widened when he saw Sasuke flying towards him. Sasuke raised his fist and punched Gaara on the jaw. Gaara's skin cracked and he crashed against a tree. Sasuke panted from where he stood. There was no way that Gaara would be getting up after that. He allowed a small smirk to escape his face. He had been able to defeat Gaara. This proved that he was strong. Not strong enough to beat Itachi, but he was getting there. The Uchiha gasped when sand shot out of where Gaara had been. Gaara walked towards him, but his appearance had changed. His right arm was now covered in sand, as was half of his face. He had a crazy look on his eye and Sasuke couldn't help but shiver. Gaara was leaking out a killing intent even greater than Zabuza's. "You're dead, Uchiha!" Gaara yelled in anger. "Are we almost there?" Sakura asked in slight panic. "They stopped running," Pakken explained. "The two have probably begun to fight. We will reach them in a few minutes." Sakura, Shikamaru and Shino had been following Pakken for what appeared to be a long time. The three genin couldn't believe what was happening on the village. On their way out they had seen a giant three-headed snake attacking the village. There were fights between ninja almost everywhere on the village. Some corpses were seen around the village and many wounded ninja dragged themselves around the village. The three genin had been rendered speechless at what they witnessed. This was their first war and they had never imagined the things that they saw. "We have to think of a plan," Shikamaru informed his two comrades. "Gaara is no pushover, we can't engage him without a well-thought-out strategy." "What do you suggest?" Shino asked. "We don't have a lot to work with. We're only three ninja with very different abilities." Shikamaru frowned. Everything Shino had said was true. His own jutsu were very limited while Shino's bugs were no match for Gaara. Sakura had no apparent skill and would only get on the way, so she was discarded from the battle. "Don't worry," Pakken said, "I smell one of the other summon hounds coming this way. I assume that Kakashi sent another team to join with us." Shikamaru smirked. He knew exactly who was coming. "Our chances just went up," he said. "All we have to do is stall Gaara until Naruto arrives." "How do you know Naruto is coming?" Shino asked. "I know Naruto well," Shikamaru said with a small smirk. "He wouldn't let us fight Gaara alone. Even if he isn't strong enough to defeat him or even if he's scared. He won't let us fight him alone, that's just the type of person he is." "How will Naruto help?" Sakura deadpanned. "He's not as strong as Sasuke." "Then you're in for a surprise when he gets here," Shikamaru said in an amused tone, leaving a very confused Sakura. Naruto gritted his teeth as he leapt from tree to tree, following the summoned dog. The dog had informed them that Sasuke was fighting at the moment, which meant that he had less time than he originally thought. Even though he admitted that Sasuke was strong, Gaara was on an entirely different level. If Gaara had a demon inside of him too, then that meant that he could use its power. If Gaara's demon was anything like his own, then Sasuke would be in trouble. Ino gave a glance at Naruto and frowned. He had been looking worried ever since they left the village. He had paid no attention to the battles going around the village since he appeared to be deep in thought. She didn't know what was going on in his head, but she knew that he was troubled by it. If Sasuke was fighting Gaara with Shikamaru and Shino only a few minutes away, why was he getting so worked up? There was no way Gaara could defeat the three of them. Naruto was hiding something and she would find out what it was. Sasuke panted as he sat against a tree. Ever since Gaara transformed into a kind of half-demon, his skills and sand control had gone through the roof. Sasuke had been forced to retreat and had been running away from Gaara while thinking of what to do. Fire jutsu would only be a waste of chakra since Gaara's sand would only block them. That only left the Chidori, but he would need time to charge it up. Sasuke's eyes widened when he saw grains of sand on the corner of the tree. He quickly jumped away and watched as the tree was engulfed with sand. Gaara stood where the tree had been and gave an evil smirk. The Uchiha threw a couple of kunai, but Gaara simply raised his sand-covered arm to block them.
Damn, Sasuke muttered as he leapt away from Gaara.
The sand ninja's sand was getting on his nerves, but he couldn't do anything about it.
Stop running and let me kill you! Gaara yelled with rage.
The Jinchuriki shot a wave of sand at Sasuke's retreating figure and smirked when he saw it hit its mark. Sasuke crashed into the ground and gasped in pain. He tried to stand but found it useless when he felt sand surround his whole body. His eyes widened, he had seen what the sand did to its victims. The Uchiha screamed as he tried to get away from the sand that would crush him to death. The sand started to tighten around his body and the sound of breaking bones was heard throughout the woods. Gaara licked his lips when he saw Sasuke squirm under his sand. Soon the Uchiha's blood would quench his mother's thirst, and his existence would be proven. He added pressure to the sand and smirked when he heard Sasuke scream in pain. Gaara felt so alive when he heard people scream in pain, it meant that they knew that he existed. He would soon ease his pain. Kakashi's lifeless body fell on the floor. Sakan smirked at his handiwork, but the smirk disappeared when Kakashi bursted in a cloud of smoke.
What? Sakan screamed in denial, who was I fighting?
A shadow clone, a voice said behind him before he lost consciousness. Yukon watched his brother fall unconscious and charged at Kakashi. The Jonin Dimplai used his superior speed to go behind Yukon before knocking him unconscious. Their knowledge about the Sound Village would be useful to the Leaf. The two remaining members of the Sound Four used the moment to flee the scene.
I guess they got away, Kakashi sighed as he watched Tayuya and Jirobo, with an unconscious Kadamaru on his shoulder, leaving the arena.
Kakashi picked up the two unconscious ninja and prepared to leave. I'll take these two to Ibiki.
He'll be able to get the information we need. Sasuke screamed in agony. His body was being completely crushed and he could do nothing about it.
He already found it difficult to breathe and his movement had been completely restrained.
Itachi had never seemed so far away. If he couldn't beat Gaara, then how would he be able to kill his brother and avenge his clan? Sasuke!
Sakura's scream was heard.
Gaara turned his gaze to the newcomers.
3 more ninja had arrived, which meant that he would get to kill more people. His mother would be quite content with him. He growled when he saw a swarm of bugs come at him. Forced to release Sasuke from his hold, Gaara raised his sand-covered arm to avoid being hurt by the bugs.
Sakura immediately ran to Sasuke and began to cry.
Sasuke! Please be alright, she cried out as she held his body close.
Shikamaru frowned. Like he guessed, Sakura proved to be useless against Gaara. Emotions would only get people hurt on battle. That only left Shino and himself to stall Gaara long enough to have Naruto arrive and help put Gaara down. I will kill you all. Gaara yelled as he shot a wave of sand at them. Shino instantly put up a protective wall of bugs.
The sand and bugs clashed and Shino saw a large number of his bugs dying.
Fighting with his bugs wouldn't be an option against Gaara.
They had to be able to outsmart him. Good thing that Shikamaru was with him.
Shino, Shikamaru said with his gaze to Gaara, I want you to keep Gaara busy.
I'll try to trap him with my shadow possession jutsu. I'll hold him as long as I can. Very well, Shino said with a nod, I'll try my best to distract him.
Sakura!
Shikamaru yelled, I want you to take Sasuke out of here.
He's in no condition to fight.
All right, Sakura said shakily. She steadied Sasuke with her shoulder and leapt away from the 3 genin.
He won't be going anywhere. Gaara yelled.
The Sand Jinchuriki shot a wave of sand at Sakura's retreating figure but found it was a bug clone. Where are you, Sasuke? You'll be fighting me, Shino said emotionlessly. The bug user shot his bugs at Gaara, who used his sand for cover. The bugs avoided the sand and latched into Gaara's body. Gaara flailed his body until the bugs were pushed away. He charged at Shino and punched him on the chest, but his body turned into a pile of bugs.
Gaara grunted in pain when several kunai struck his back. I will kill you. Gaara's scream echoed through the woods as sand began to cover more of his body.
His back became covered by sand and a large tail made of sand was formed.
Gaara tried to charge at Shino but found himself unable to move. Shadow possession success, Shikamaru said with a smirk. Damn you! Gaara screamed as he tried to move.
Shikamaru gritted his teeth as he tried to keep hold of the sand ninja.
He was already low on chakra from his fight with Temari. Holding Gaara for more than a few minutes would be impossible. Hurry up, Naruto, Shikamaru thought as he struggled to keep Gaara in place. Let me go! Gaara screamed as his body started to counter the effects of the shadow possession. Damn it!
Shikamaru cursed as Gaara began to overpower him. Shino, keep him still with your bugs. Right, Shino said as his bugs covered Gaara's body.
Gaara's sand enveloped the bugs before crushing them. It's useless. You're on your own. I'll prove my existence. Gaara yelled as he finally broke away from Shikamaru's hold.
The sand ninja instantly charged at the lazy genius and struck him on the chest.
Shino was about to aid Shikamaru but was struck by Gaara's sand.
The two-leaf shinobi fell on the ground while panting in exhaustion. I'll kill you both before going after the Uchiha. Shikamaru and Shino could do nothing but stay where they were. Their bodies gave up on them and they ached all over.
Gaara's strength was monstrous compared to theirs.
Shikamaru cursed his luck. All he ever wanted was to have a peaceful life with a family, but all that was over now. He gazed at the clouds and smiled. He would miss watching them.
Gaara took his time in making his way over to the two fallen shinobi. He savored each second of their suffering.
They knew that they were going to die and they would scream in fear. That was what Gaara lived for, killing to prove he still lived.
Wind style, devastation. A powerful gust of wind knocked Gaara away from the fallen genin. Shikamaru turned his gaze to see Naruto and Ino running over to them. Ino kneeled next to the two in order to check for wounds.
Naruto stood next to them in his taijutsu stance. Shikamaru turned to the blonde and his eyes widened when he saw something he never thought he would see in Naruto's eyes: fury.
You came to die too? Gaara asked with a crazed look on his face. Very well, I'll kill you too.
If you ever come near any of my friends again, Naruto started with his hands and mouth twitching from pure fury, I'll kill you. Naruto opened his right palm to reveal a seal on the glove he wore. The seal shone and one of Asuma's blades appeared on his hand. The blonde ran at Gaara at full speed. The sand ninja shot a stream of sand, but Naruto easily jumped over it.
He proceeded to create a clone that flung him towards Gaara.
Before the sand Jinchuriki knew what happened, his sand arm had been cut off by Naruto's blade.
Wind style, air bullets.
Naruto shot out several balls of wind that hit Gaara all over his body. The attack ended with Naruto putting his hand on Gaara's stomach, wind style, spiraling wind ball. The attack's force knocked Gaara away from the blonde Jinchuriki. The redhead crashed against a tree and struggled to get up.
And Naruto? Shino asked himself in disbelief.
He had never expected Naruto to do what he and Shikamaru couldn't by himself.
What Shikamaru had said was true, Naruto's power would surprise them all.
Ino, Naruto said in a serious voice, I want you to take Shikamaru and Shino out of here.
Not this again. Ino snapped, I'll help you. You don't have to do this alone.
Fine, Naruto answered, but when it gets too dangerous, I want you three away from here.
Ino couldn't answer as a wave of sand shot off towards Naruto.
The blonde rolled to the right and his eyes widened when he saw the sand rip a tree from its roots.
Gaara was now almost completely covered in sand with his right arm restored.
Gaara charged at Naruto with a scream. The blonde tried to jump away but was struck by a wave of sand. The blonde sailed through the air before spinning and landing on the ground with a light thud. Water style, liquid bullets. Ino yelled as she put a hand on her mouth and shot out several water balls. The water ball struck Gaara, making him wince slightly. Gaara turned to Ino, but as soon as he did, he received a large wound on his back, courtesy of Naruto's blade. Gaara growled before shooting sand at the annoying blondes.
Naruto rolled away from the attack while creating a shadow clone.
Ino wasn't fast enough to dodge, but the Naruto clone used a substitution jutsu on her, making it take the hit and dispel afterwards.
Naruto gazed at Ino and gave her a firm nod. Ino responded with a confident grin and a nod of her own, showing she understood.
Since they trained together with Asuma, they had learned a few combination attacks. It turned out that the two could cover each other's weaknesses pretty well. Water/wind style, bullet barrage. The two yelled as they ran through hand signs and put a hand to their mouths.
The two blondes shot out several air and water balls at Gaara.
The Sand Jinchuriki used sand to cover the attack, but the water from Ino's liquid bullets brought his defenses down. The air and liquid bullets broke through the sand barrier and struck Gaara all throughout his body.
The attack ended with two strong air and liquid bullets hitting the redhead and knocking him back several feet.
Naruto panted as he watched Gaara fall on the ground. "How are you on chakra, Ino?" he asked. "I have used about half of my reserves."
"I think I have enough chakra for one more attack," Ino admitted while panting heavily.
"Why don't I go inside of his mind and control him, while you deliver the final blow?"
"No!" Naruto yelled, almost immediately. "Don't even think of doing that." "Why not?" Ino asked in confusion. "Because he has a demon inside of him," Shikamaru said while sitting against a tree. "Isn't that right, Naruto?" "What are you talking about?"
"That's impossible," Ino said with a shocked expression. "I didn't remember until now," Shikamaru began, "but many of the tailed demons would be sealed within humans on times of war. This was to gain an upper hand when it came to power."
"Why, you're serious?" Ino asked in disbelief. Shikamaru nodded.
"It's true." He turned to Naruto. "You knew he wasn't lying when he admitted that he had a demon within him because you've heard of this subject before, right?"
Naruto stood quietly before turning to Shikamaru with a smile.
"Right," he said. "I think that it was one of those classes where I actually paid attention."
"Is Gaara defeated?" Shino asked after a moment of silence.
"No," Naruto said with a frown. "It was way too easy."
"I know that he'll get up soon." "What should we do?" Shino asked with slight alarm heard on his voice.
"All of you have to leave," Naruto said in a serious tone.
"I'm not leaving, Naruto!" Ino exclaimed with a frown.
"You're almost out of chakra, Ino," Naruto said with a sad look. "Please leave, I couldn't live with myself if I knew I got you hurt." Ino was about to protest but saw the look on Naruto's eyes. It was a look of desperation mixed with nothing but concern, all directed to her. She couldn't help but blush slightly knowing that Naruto really cared for her.
"Fine," she said with a sad smile, "I'll leave with these two. But please, I want you to come back to the village safely, and if you don't then you'll have to make it up to me." "Fine," Naruto said with a small smile, "I promise I'll kick this guy's ass." Ino couldn't help but laugh slightly before helping Shikamaru and Shino up.
They began to leave the scene with Ino throwing a last glance at Naruto. "I know you'll beat him," she thought with a smile. "You're the future Hokage after all." Naruto watched his friends leave with a grin before turning to where Gaara had been thrown. Soon enough, the sand ninja stood back up with a look of anger on his face.
Naruto slipped into his taijutsu stance and infused chakra onto his blade.
The blonde ran at Gaara, who used his sand to attack him. Not having a lot of energy left, Naruto was hit and thrown back.
Using the ground as a spring, Naruto leapt at Gaara.
The sand ninja used his sand arm to cover the attack. The blonde punched the arm before using his blade to cut through it. As soon as the arm fell on the ground, another one began to reform. Before it formed completely, Naruto kicked Gaara on the face. The redhead flinched and felt a fist connect with his stomach. Gaara raised his fist to attack, but Naruto hopped to the right and delivered a kick to his stomach.
Naruto followed with an elbow to Gaara's chest and a kick to the face. Gaara recovered from the kick and punched Naruto away with his newly formed right arm.
The blonde landed on the ground with a hard thud but stood up immediately.
Shadow Clone Jutsu, he yelled as 3 clones appeared beside him.
The 3 charged at Gaara and began to attack.
Gaara wasn't able to strike back since they wouldn't stop their attacks. One of the clone's stance fell and Gaara took the opportunity.
He punched the first clone, while blocking a kick with his sand arm. He shot a stream of sand at the last 2 clones and looked for the original. He hissed when he felt something dig into his tail. He turned around to see Naruto trying to jump away, but before he could get away, Gaara managed to punch him with his sand arm.
Naruto sailed through the air and smirked.
"Got you," he said as he crashed to the ground. Gaara heard the sound of something burning before the kunai that had been stabbed into his tail exploded. The redhead screamed in pain, since the tail was the only vulnerable place on his body. He was blown away before crashing against a tree, headfirst.
Gaara was instantly knocked unconscious.
Naruto stood up shakily and glanced at Gaara's unconscious form. He smirked. He might be bleeding all over the place, have broken bones, internal bleeding, but at least he managed to win.
Sand shot out of Gaara's body and began to cover him. Naruto gasped when he felt demonic chakra around the area. Gaara's demon was taking over. The sand formed a giant raccoon made of sand with a single tail. "I'm finally out." Shikaku cheered, "No more stupid kid holding me back." "Damn," Naruto said with a weary look on his face.
"I only have to take care of one thing first." The one-tailed demon turned towards Naruto and gave an evil smirk. "I'll kill you to quench my thirst."
"What the hell do I do?" Naruto asked himself through gritted teeth.
A million thoughts raced through Naruto's head as Shikaku's giant claws descended upon him, with the most prominent one being, "Fuck." The blonde replaced himself with a log, before putting some distance between himself and the giant demon.
He had no idea what to do. He was almost out of chakra, so wind jutsu would only be a waste of since it wouldn't hurt something that big. Summoning was very tempting, but he wasn't able to summon Gamabunta without the fox's chakra. "Where are you?" Naruto heard Shikaku yell.
The blonde sat against a tree, hidden from the demon's view, and began to brainstorm ways of beating it without the aid of the Kyuubi. Shadow clones might be able to slow down the one-tailed demon, but they required a lot of chakra, something he couldn't waste at the moment. His improved Uzumaki barrage was out of the question since, again, he didn't have enough chakra. Summoning the Chief Toad seemed to be the only option he had left. With much hesitation, Naruto closed his eyes and focused his attention on finding the Kyuubi's chakra. It took a few seconds, but he found the vile chakra and began to draw from it. The blonde hated every minute of it. He hated needing the help of a demon, he hated the burning of his skin whenever he used the fox's chakra, and most of all, he couldn't stand the amount of hatred that came with the vile chakra. Even though he was still conscious of the things he did, under the influence of the fox's chakra, he would feel a large amount of hate towards anyone that looked his way. He would grow more aggressive and lust for blood. The blonde's appearance began to change. His fangs grew in size until they stuck out of his mouth, his cheek marks darkened, and his hair became spikier. Naruto felt his hatred towards everything and everyone grow. Repressed emotions from his childhood flared and a growl escaped his mouth. Those damned fools had treated him like dirt, they should pay. He would kill them. The blonde Jinchuriki opened his eyes to reveal piercing red eyes with black slits. With the little amount of reason Naruto had, he tried to calm himself. He had forgiven the villagers since they were only scared and had lost a lot of things to the fox. He had grown to love the village, it was his home. All of his friends lived there and he would protect them at all costs. The people who took away some of the pain and saved him from that dark and lonely place. Naruto felt some of the hate leave and focused his attention on defeating the large demon. Naruto bit his thumb and ran through hand signs before slamming his hands on the branch he had been standing on. Summoning Jutsu. A giant cloud of smoke appeared in the middle of the forest, gaining Shikaku's attention. There was a loud sound of crashing trees before the smoke began to disappear.
Standing on the forest, facing Shikaku, was the chief toad Gamabunta with his summoner, Naruto, on its head. "Why have you summoned me, kid?" Gamabunta asked in annoyance. He had been in the middle of a meal. Naruto pointed at Shikaku. "Are you blind?" Naruto spat out, "That's the reason I summoned you. I want that demon down." Gamabunta frowned. There was something off about the kid.
The blonde reeked of demonic chakra, and the chief toad instantly knew that he was using the fox's chakra at the moment. "I'll help you fight him. But the minute you stop using that chakra, I will kick your ass. I'll kill you all." Shikaku yelled as he opened his mouth, wind style, air bullets. Giant balls of wind came out of Shikaku's mouth, making Naruto's look like a drop in the ocean. Water style, liquid bullets. Gamabunta yelled as he shot out giant balls of water that countered Shikaku's, "Hang on, kid." "To what?" Naruto yelled as the toad jumped up. Using chakra to stick to the toad's head, Naruto watched as the two giants clashed. Gamabunta grabbed Shikaku's shoulders but was easily pushed away. The toad reached for his blade and charged at the one-tailed demon. With a clean swipe, the blade dug into Shikaku's skin but made no damage. It simply dug into the sand. The demon struck the chief toad on the face before Gamabunta jumped away to put some distance between the two. "Nobody's capable of stopping me." Shikaku cheered, "I'll destroy everything." Naruto growled, still under the effects of the Kyuubi's chakra. "Any ideas, chief?" The blonde Jinchuriki asked. "Kick his ass already." "I'm no match for a tailed best, you fool." Shikaku snapped in anger. "We have to wake up Shikaku's host." Naruto looked at the demon and saw no sign of Gaara. "How the hell do we do that?" he asked with a frown. "I don't see that Gaara bastard anywhere." "The kid should be on Shikaku's forehead," Gamabunta explained. "You have to get through the sand in order to wake him up. I'll get close to him. Be ready to attack." "Got it," Naruto said with a firm nod. Ino, Shino and Shikamaru watched the battle from a safe distance. Ino wanted to be there in case Naruto needed help, while Shino and Shikamaru were too tired to go any further. Gaara was winning by the looks of things, but the giant toad wasn't so far behind. Shikamaru thought that they were about even, but the giant raccoon had the upper hand since the toad's blades couldn't cut through the sand. "It's going to be a long fight," Shino said. Shikamaru nodded. "I just hope Naruto makes it out alive," he said with a sigh, "that Gaara is way past Genin level." "Don't say things like that." Ino snapped. "Naruto will come back safely," he promised. "Get ready, kid," Gamabunta said as he charged at Shikaku. The chief toad took hold of its sides and held him in a tight grip. "Go wake him up." Naruto jumped off Gamabunta's head and onto Shikaku's. Wind style, Naruto began to run through hand seals before bringing a hand to his mouth. Devastation. A powerful gust of air came out of Naruto's mouth and blew part of the sand on Shikaku's head away, revealing Gaara's unconscious form. "Wake up, you bastard!" the blonde yelled as he raised his fist, ready to punch Gaara awake. Shikaku's eyes widened. "I won't go back in." The one-tailed demon began to thrash about, breaking Gamabunta's hold on him. "Get the hell off!" It began to shake its head rapidly, enraged at the brat that was trying to put him back on that damned prison. Naruto tried to hold on by using his chakra to stick to the head but found it incredibly hard. With one last shake of its head, Naruto was thrown off the Shikaku and fell towards the ground at an incredible pace. The blonde saw the oncoming ground and closed his eyes. It would hurt. He felt something wrap around his waist and his fall stopped. "I got you, kid," Gamabunta said with his tongue wrapped around Naruto. "I'll kill you both," Shikaku yelled. It opened its mouth and small bubbles started to form around it. There were small blue bubbles mixed with black bubbles. The small bubbles simply floated around until they began to move towards Shikaku's mouth. The bubbles began to merge and started to create a large black sphere. The chief toad put Naruto back on its head just in time to witness the attack beginning to form. "What the hell is that?"
Naruto exclaimed in anger. Gamabunta's eyes widened, he had seen that attack before. There's only one thing to do, kid. You're going to get one last shot at waking the kid. If you don't, then your village is doomed.
Naruto's eyes widened and he narrowed his eyes. He would stop the Shikaku for his friends. He had promised himself to protect them all on his own power. The fox wouldn't help end this fight, he would make sure of it. His appearance began to turn back to normal, showing that the Kyuubi's chakra was leaving his system. I'm going to throw you high in the air. Use the momentum to deliver your strongest attack and wake the kid.
Don't worry, Chief, I'll wake him up, Naruto assured with a confident grin.
Gamabunta's tongue wrapped tightly around Naruto's waist as Shikaku's attack was done charging.
Shikaku swallowed the black ball as Gamabunta threw Naruto in the air. Shikaku's stomach inflated before returning to normal.
The Shikaku opened its mouth and released a powerful yellow beam that tore into the ground and obliterated trees as it made its way to the Chief Toad.
Naruto watched the attack in awe while rocketing up the sky.
He looked at the Chief Toad facing the powerful attack with nothing but his large sword and smiled. Gamabunta was truly brave.
As the attack approached Gamabunta, the Chief Toad left in a cloud of smoke to return home to safety. What the hell? Naruto thought with an angry expression, why did he just leave me here?
The attack exploded into the ground in a display of raw power. Trees were blown away and smoke filled the entire area. When the smoke cleared, there was a huge crater where Gamabunta had been standing only moments ago.
I killed them. Shikaku cheered, not seeing Naruto sailing through the air. He's distracted, now's my chance, Naruto muttered to himself.
He wouldn't let the stupid demon hurt his friends or the village. He had promised to protect them and had told Ino that he would go back to the village safely.
He had to win.
Naruto's momentum ended and he began to fall rapidly.
This is it, he thought as he held his right hand to the side and began to forge wind chakra into his palm. Wind gathered on his hand and a ball of wind began to form.
The ball of wind chakra flashed blue for a second before turning back to its original white and gray color.
Wind style, spiraling wind ball, Naruto yelled as he crashed into Shikaku's head.
The attack resulted on a large crater on Shikaku's head and a huge cloud of sand.
Damn it!
Shikaku screamed in pain.
Gaara's unconscious form became visible on Shikaku's head and Naruto ran at it with his right fist held back. Wake the hell up already! Naruto yelled as he brought his fist to Gaara's face.
His fist connected with Gaara's jaw with a loud breaking bone sound, from Gaara's jaw or his own knuckles, he didn't know.
Gaara's eyes snapped open and Shikaku's body began to break. No! Damn it! The Shikaku yelled as it began to disappear.
Soon Shikaku's whole body turned back to ordinary sand, leaving Naruto and Gaara falling helplessly to the ground since they were not able to move anymore from the strain their bodies had taken.
The two landed on the unforgiving ground with loud thuds and everything grew quiet on the woods.
No more sounds of battle, no more curses, no more tremors. The only thing heard was the heavy breathing of two shinobi.
Gaara was sprawled on the ground.
His whole body ached and his jaw was in incredible pain. He couldn't understand how he had gotten beaten. He had experienced more pain than anyone and lived only for himself.
How had he lost? What did he lack?
Naruto's muffled groan was heard. He had fallen on the ground face down, hurting most of his bones.
His chakra was almost gone and his body was in pain.
With the adrenaline gone, he could feel each of the wounds Gaara had inflicted on him.
But he wasn't done yet.
Gaara was still there and was a danger to the village, to his friends.
The blonde gritted his teeth and began to drag himself towards Gaara.
He and the redhead were the same, but Gaara had taken a turn he had avoided thanks to Irika and all of his friends.
Gaara's eyes widened when he saw Naruto moving towards him.
The redhead's body wouldn't move, he was vulnerable, Naruto would kill him.
No, Gaara said in fear, I won't have my existence erased. Get away. Stop.
The blonde didn't stop and continued to move towards Gaara, causing him to scream in fear. Naruto stopped dragging himself towards Gaara, making the redhead stop screaming and look at him in fear of being killed.
Naruto understood why Gaara didn't want to die.
All Gaara had was himself, his life was all he cherished.
Just like Naruto had. It's almost unbearable, isn't it?
Gaara gave Naruto a confused expression. The blonde slowly lifted his face to meet Gaara's gaze. The redhead looked into Naruto's eyes and his eyes widened slightly. Those eyes were just like his own, full of loneliness.
I know what it's like.
Naruto began, having everyone look at you in fear.
Being ignored by everyone and avoided like the plague. I have a demon inside of me too. Gaara's eyes widened, someone else knew of his pain. There was a time when I felt just like you. I hated everyone.
I wanted them all to feel my pain, wanted to make them suffer for acting like I didn't exist, like my life didn't even matter. A few tears escaped Naruto's eyes and he gave a small smile.
But then, I met Iruka-sensei.
He was the first person other than the Hokage to acknowledge me. At that point I thought that there was hope, maybe I could be acknowledged by more people. Gaara listened to every word, wondering if he too could be acknowledged. As time passed, I met more people that looked at me as a friend, someone important to them. Naruto smiled thinking of his friends, the people he would give his life to protect. I grew to cherish those bonds and nothing will ever break them, even if they are damaged.
That's why I'll give my life to protect them.
They took me out of that dark and lonely place, they are my saviors. Naruto's gaze turned to one of anger and he began to try to stand up. He used his left hand to support himself before doing the same with his right. It was hard and painful, but he managed to get into a crawling position.
If you ever try to hurt them.
He glared at Gaara, I'll slaughter you.
Gaara turned his gaze to the sky, reflecting on his life.
Love is what made him strong, he thought, maybe I can form bonds also.
I still don't understand completely, but I will try. The redhead turned back to Naruto and gave him a nod. I don't want to fight anymore. I won't hurt your friends. Naruto smiled weakly. I understand why you acted like you did. The blonde gave Gaara a grin. I won't hold it against you. Maybe we could become friends in the future, Gaara. Gaara managed a small grin. I'd like that, he said weakly. Naruto Uzumaki.
The blonde smiled before he laid down on the ground and closed his eyes, the effects of the fight finally too much for him. He slipped into blissful unconsciousness with inner peace. He had succeeded on protecting his friends.
Is it over? Ino asked.
Shikamaru and Shino had seen the disappearance of the Shikaku after a big explosion happened on its head. It appears so, Shino said. Shikamaru closed his eyes and smirked. He actually did it, he said, we might as well go get him. He opened his eyes to see Shino pointing towards Naruto's direction. Ino left while you were talking, Shino said. Man, Shikamaru replied with a sigh, blondes are way too troublesome. Kakashi arrived to a weird scene. Naruto was sleeping on the ground with Gaara gazing at the sky only a few feet away. He expected to arrive to see the two trying to kill each other, but, to be honest, he was glad they were done. It meant he was probably done fighting for the day. He would fight for his village any day, but it was always good to lay back and relax.
I take it you beat Naruto? Kakashi asked the redhead.
Gaara shook his head with his gaze never leaving the sky.
I was defeated by Naruto.
He admitted, his merely resting, a luxury which I do not have. Kakashi smiled, he was proud of his student. He had assumed that Naruto had calmed Gaara down after losing, but he had actually defeated a Chunin-level ninja. It would be the last time he didn't believe in his student. I take it Naruto told you of his burden.
Gaara turned his gaze to Kakashi and nodded, good.
I hope you two become friends.
Because you know of each other's pain, then it'll be easier to cope with it.
It's always a good thing to have a friend you can familiarize with.
I hope I'll be able to follow in Naruto's example, Gaara said with a small nod.
Well, Kakashi said with an eye smile breaking the tension, sorry to say this but I have to take you back to the village.
Don't worry though, you won't be trialed since you were listening to the orders of an imposter. The Kazekage died?
Receiving a nod from Kakashi, Gaara gazed at the sky once again, that's good. Kakashi's sweat dropped, he probably didn't want to know why it was a good thing. With a shrug Kakashi created a shadow clone and had him pick up the two Jinchurikis. They would need some medical attention but then again, many ninja did. It would probably be a while before they were discharged. Kakashi inwardly smirked, it would give him a lot of quality reading time. Naruto's eyes opened slightly before closing again. He could probably get a few more minutes of sleep. The blonde went back to sleep but felt something soft on his cheek. He was puzzled as to what it was, he had never felt anything like it and it left a tingling sensation on his cheek. The blonde regained some conscience and wondered where he was.
The last thing he remembered was talking to Gaara and then going to sleep.
The blonde slowly opened his eyes. He was greeted by white walls and immediately closed his eyes due to the light they reflected. He waited a few seconds before opening his eyes again and making sense of where he was. His right hand was heavily bandaged and he was in a white bed. Great, I'm in the hospital, Naruto thought with a groan. He hated hospitals, they smelled funny and had the worst tasting food that would only taste worse because of the hospital smell. The sound of footsteps got his attention and he turned his gaze to the white door. Seriously, why did everything have to be white in hospitals? Ino stood in front of the door with a hand on the doorknob. She turned around and got a shocked look on her face.
And Naruto? Ino asked, still with the shocked look, but it slowly turned into a smile. You're awake. Without thinking, Ino threw herself at Naruto and enveloped him in a hug.
Naruto felt a blush make its way to his cheeks but returned the hug with his good hand.
Why am I here?
He asked. The blonde had no idea what happened after Gaara's defeat. Ino broke the hug and smiled at the blonde. You've been unconscious for 6 days, she informed him, giggling at his shocked expression. After you beat Gaara, Kakashi-sensei brought you here.
You were pretty hurt but at least you won, right?
I guess, Naruto said with a puzzled look. What happened to Gaara?
Ino frowned.
He was here for 1 day and then they just let him go.
She snapped, can you believe that? He didn't get in trouble for anything.
Naruto chuckled. Ino was funny whenever she got riled up.
Don't worry about it, Ino.
Naruto said with his usual cheerfulness, it's not like Gaara did anything wrong. He was just following his village's orders. Besides, he didn't actually attack the village himself.
What are you talking about? Ino snapped with an angry look. Look at you, Naruto. You're hurt. Do you know how worried I was?
I don't know why they let him go after he left you like this.
Naruto gave Ino a reassuring smile. I'm fine, Ino, really.
He lifted his right hand and waved it around. This is nothing.
I'll be back to normal in no time. Ino was about to retaliate but Naruto interrupted. It's really okay, Ino. I know why Gaara did what he did.
He didn't have anyone so he was only trying to find a way to show he existed.
It's okay, Ino.
Ino sighed. Leave it to Naruto to have such a forgiving heart.
Fine, but...
She pointed a finger at Naruto and smiled. You owe me.
What? Naruto exclaimed. I don't owe you anything. Ino's smile grew bigger.
Of course you do, she started. You promised that you would get back to the village safely and you did not. Naruto shuddered. He knew that Gamma would be taking another blow soon.
What did you have in mind?
He scratched the back of his head. It's not shopping again, is it?
Ino crossed her arms. What is it with men hating shopping?
She asked with a fake frown. She gave Naruto a smile that he knew all too well. It usually led to something he didn't want to do. You're going to have dinner with me and my parents.
What? Naruto half yelled.
You heard me, Ino said with a triumphant smile. My parents wanted to know more about you and they never got to talk to you.
It's only fair that you have a decent dinner with them. Fine, Naruto said. He assumed that facing his fear of adults would be a good thing. What kind of future Hokage didn't talk to adults? Good. Ino exclaimed with a smile, I'll tell my parents and then we'll set the date. The door opened once again, getting the attention of the two blondes, and the Hokage entered the room. Hello Naruto, Sarutobi said with a small smile, it's nice to see you finally woke up. Hey old man. Naruto greeted with a smile, glad to see you're okay. Ino turned to Naruto and gave him a cold glare. Naruto, she whispered harshly, you can't talk to the Hokage like that. Naruto was about to disagree but saw the intensity of the glare. All right. He said with a nervous smile, what brings you here? Lord Hokage? Ino gave Naruto a sweet smile. Naruto found himself blushing slightly and quickly turned his gaze to the Hokage, expecting him to say something. I came here to thank you, the Hokage said. He smiled at the odd looks the blondes gave him. Thanks to your intervention Orochimaru's plans were ruined. It was nothing, Naruto said with an embarrassed blush. The Hokage chuckled. I also wanted to thank you for not only stopping Gaara, but for steering him to the right path. You completed your first A-rank mission as a leader and proved to be capable of making right decisions concerning your teammates' well-being. Sarutobi took out a sealing scroll and gave it to Naruto. I would like you to open it and be the first to congratulate you. Naruto poured some chakra into the scroll and watched as something appeared in a small cloud of smoke. The blonde's eyes widened and he gave Sarutobi an exited smile. The Hokage smiled, Naruto had truly done him proud and deserved what he gave him. I would like to congratulate you on becoming a Chunin, the Hokage said with a smile. Naruto looked at the vest sitting on his lap and smiled. All right. The blonde cheered, one step closer to becoming Hokage. You deserve it Naruto, Ino said with a smile. I have to leave now, Sarutobi said with a nod of his head, there's much to do in the village. I'll see you later old M. I mean Lord Hokage. Naruto said while giving Ino a nervous smile. The Hokage smiled and left the room, happy that Naruto was turning out to be a strong shinobi. I have to go to Naruto, Ino said with a hint of disappointment, I have to go help in the flower shop. Naruto nodded before getting a confused look on his face. Hey, Ino, Naruto said in a confused tone. Ino gave him a questioning look and motioned him to go on. I'm not really sure, but I felt something on my cheek earlier, do you know what it was? Ino's whole face turned red and she turned her gaze to the floor. I don't know what you're talking about. She muttered quietly. I don't know, Naruto continued, I really think I felt something press against my cheek. Ino snapped her gaze at Naruto and gave him an angry look that didn't have the desired effect with the deep blush adorning her cheeks, shut up. She exclaimed, I'm out of here. Ino ran out of the room, leaving a very confused Naruto. What did I do? He asked himself with confusion written all over his face, I really don't understand girls. Naruto sat atop the fourth Hokage's head with a content smile. He wore his Chunin vest on top of his long-sleeve black shirt, signifying that he was now a Chunin-leveled shinobi. He could see many people, villagers and shinobi alike, helping in the reconstruction of Konoha. It had been a few days since the invasion and things were already returning back to normal. Naruto had had his share of duties on helping reconstruct the village as soon as he got out of the hospital. Genins helped with small stuff, giving them a lot of free time. Naruto as a Chunin, Naruto was expected to help the most he could. It was no wonder that Shikamaru hated being made a Chunin along with Naruto. The blonde hadn't seen much of Ino in the last few days due to his busy agenda. It wasn't until today that Naruto got taken off reconstruction duty, as the third called it, and the blonde was looking forward to a few days off. He found himself happy at being able to spend time with Ino again since she had become an important person in his life. Thinking about Ino, Naruto couldn't help but sigh. On his last visit to the Hokage's office, he had run into Jiraiya. The sage had told him of an upcoming trip the two would be taking. They were to search for the legendary medic Tsunade for an undetermined amount of time.
Naruto had been exited at first, but Jiraiya told him that he would train him on using the fox's chakra. The blonde hesitated but finally agreed after Jiraiya pestered him for about a day. He was afraid of using the chakra and paled when Jiraiya suggested telling his friends about the fox. The reason being that if he were to use that power in front of his friends, then they would be wary of him subconsciously since they wouldn't know where the unknown power came from. It was best to tell them beforehand. Jiraiya had told him that telling his closest friend about it would make it a lot easier to tell his other friends. The sage told him to do it when he was ready, but telling them sooner would keep them from fearing him.
That had been 3 days ago, and Naruto hadn't had the courage nor time to tell Ino about his burden.
He knew that Jiraiya was right, which is why he was currently on top of the Hokage monument, admiring the view of the village. It gave him a sense of peace that he would need since he planned on telling Ino about the fox that same night. Naruto stood up and gazed at the village. "I have to tell her," the blonde muttered to himself with a sigh. The third sighed as he looked over the large amount of paperwork on his desk. Orochimaru was truly evil. Having an attack on the village had increased his paperwork immensely, an evil plan indeed. Papers with many different kind of permits filled his desk. This was probably the worst part of being the Hokage. He knew that Naruto would give up on his dream if he learned about the evils of paperwork. "You look like hell, old man," Jiraiya said from his sitting position on the window's railing. "Jiraiya," the third said with a nod, "what brings you here?" "I just wanted to know how the meeting with the elders went," the toad sage said with a grin.
Sarutobi sighed.
"They were quite concerned with what you're planning to do. Their fear for the fox is too strong and they disapproved of you teaching Naruto how to use it," he explained. "We discussed it for hours until they finally agreed with me. They didn't want to listen to me until I told them that if Naruto was trained in the use of the fox's chakra, that would mean that Tsunade would be needed back in the village. Their desire to have Tsunade back on the village made them accept my proposal."
Jiraiya scoffed.
"As if they could have done anything against your orders," he sighed and shook his head. "I take it you made it official then?" The third nodded and tossed a scroll to Jiraiya. "That contains the mission of searching for Tsunade," he explained. "It is an A-rank mission due to the time it could take."
"This will go on Naruto's record too, right?" Jiraiya asked with a raised brow.
The third chuckled and nodded his head. He was content with the care his student showed for Naruto. "All right then, when do we leave?"
"You are to leave by tomorrow."
Sarutobi said, "Take care of Naruto. It's dangerous to let him out of the village if what you said was true." "Don't worry, old man," Jiraiya said in a serious tone. "I'm more than capable of handling a few rogue ninja. Besides, I always have Sage Mode at my disposal."
Sarutobi nodded.
"You're right. Now about your other idea," he said. "When do you plan on taking Naruto on that training trip?"
Jiraiya crossed his arms.
"I'm not sure," he admitted. "I have to meet with some contacts in a few weeks, so I assume that I'll take him after I come back."
"That should be in around a month." Sarutobi nodded.
"Very well." He took out a paper and started to write. "I'll start the paperwork for your training trip, but because of the situation we're in, Naruto will be receiving missions on a constant basis." "That's okay," Jiraiya said with a grin. "It will give him the experience he will need if he is to be able to protect himself against that group. Just make sure that the missions don't interfere with his training." "I know," the third said with a nod. "I plan on sending missions with his training in mind." "Good," Jiraiya said. "Now if you'll excuse me, I have some research to do." With that, the toad sage jumped out the window.
Sarutobi sighed.
"He'll never change." He couldn't help but chuckle at his student as he took out an all-too-familiar orange book. "That's a good thing." Ino sighed as she stood behind the counter of the Yamanaka flower shop. She had been stuck in the shop while her dad helped out on the village and her mom met with other flower shops to discuss whatever flower shop owners discuss. Training had been scarce due to the time she spent on the shop. She was glad that things were getting better in the village since that meant that she could get back to training and maybe she would get to spend more time with Naruto.
Ino couldn't help but frown. The idiot hadn't even visited her in the past few days.
As soon as he got out of the hospital, he just disappeared. Naruto would get it when she saw him again. She had told her parents that Naruto would have dinner with them whenever he could, and the blonde idiot just went and disappeared. "Ino," a voice said. She would make the idiot pay for just ignoring her and her family like that. She thought of ways to make him pay for his behavior. Hitting him? No, it was a little extreme, and he was already hit enough by Sakura. "Ino," the voice repeated a little louder. Ino smiled when she got the perfect plan. It would be the best way to punish Naruto without looking like an abusive person. She would find ways to deny Naruto his ramen. It was brilliant. She patted herself on the back for a good idea. "Ino," the voice exclaimed. Ino broke out of her thoughts and saw Naruto's face a few inches from her own. She yelped and moved away from the blonde with a bright blush on her face. What are you doing?" she asked with a panicked expression. "You're finally out of your daze," Naruto said with a smile. "I've been trying to get your attention for a while now." Ino crossed her arms and turned away from Naruto. "So, now you decide to make some time for me," she huffed and frowned. "You just disappeared for a long time and come back like nothing happened." Naruto scratched the back of his head. "I'm sorry, Ino, but I've been busy with the reconstruction of the village," he explained with a nervous smile. "I'm sorry that I wasn't able to see you." "It's okay," Ino said with a pout. Naruto smiled. "Don't worry, Ino, I'll make it up to you," he declared as he pointed at himself. "You have my word that I'll do anything you ask." Ino couldn't help but smile. It was hard to stay mad at Naruto. "Fine, I forgive you." She then broke into an excited smile and took hold of Naruto's right hand. "Guess what?" What?" Naruto asked with a blush on his face. Ino's hands were soft against his own. "My parents said that you could have dinner with us any time," she declared, "which means that you'll have to eat with us tonight." "Tonight?" Naruto asked with a worried look. Ino nodded with a happy smile, making the blonde feel guilty of thinking of turning her down. "All right, I'll be here." Ino gave Naruto a hug. "Don't worry, Naruto, it'll go well." She broke the hug and gave Naruto a smile. "Be here at 8 sharp. I don't want you making a bad impression on my parents." "Okay," Naruto said with a nod. "Can I ask you a favor?" "Sure," Ino said happily. She was glad that Naruto would meet her parents. He would actually be the first person to have dinner with them. "If you don't mind," he started with a nervous voice, "do you think we could go walk around town after the dinner is over? I have something important to tell you." Ino's heartbeat rose and she felt a blush creep into her cheeks. It couldn't be that, could it? She asked herself with a deepening blush. Sure, Naruto. I don't mind." "Great," Naruto said with a small grin. "I'll see you later." Ino watched the blonde run out of the store with the blush never leaving her face. Is he planning on asking me out? The thought of Naruto as a boyfriend was a little weird, but she felt that it wouldn't be too bad. He was a happy person who cared for her and would make her feel important. Thinking about a relationship with Naruto brought back the things she felt for him. It wasn't until that moment that she realized that maybe she really wanted to be more than a friend to Naruto. "I think I'm falling for Naruto," she admitted to herself. "Are you, now?" asked Inoichi from behind his daughter. Ino turned around with a petrified look on her face. Daddy?" Ino stammered with an embarrassed blush on her face. Naruto walked through the streets with a nervous look on his face. It was almost 8 and he was making his way to Ino's house. He was completely nervous at the fact that he was about to eat with Ino's parents. Though he talked to Ino's mom from time to time, he still preferred to keep his distance from her. He still didn't feel right around civilian adults. Having to tell Ino about the fox didn't make things any easier. He was afraid of Ino ending their friendship because of the fox, but at the same time, he knew that he had to tell her. He arrived at Ino's home and knocked on the front door. A few seconds later, Ino opened the door with a smile on her face. "You made it," Ino said with a happy smile. "Come in, my parents are in the living room." "Okay," Naruto said as he was led into the house by Ino. She led him to the living room where Ino's mom and dad sat on one of the 3 couches that adorned the room, deep in conversation. "Mom, Dad," Ino interrupted their conversation. The 2 adults turned around and had different reactions. Mickey smiled at Naruto while Inoichi glared at him. "He's here," Ino said lamely, feeling the tension in the room. Inoichi nodded. "At least he's on time," he muttered with his eyes narrowed at Naruto. The blonde felt a lump on his throat and gulped nervously. Mickey elbowed her husband on the ribs, making him groan in pain. "Calm down," she whispered harshly before turning to Naruto with a gentle smile. "It's nice to have you here." "Gee, good to be here," Naruto said with his gaze lowered slightly. There was an awkward silence and Ino mentally groaned. "It's going to be a long night," she thought with a frown. Kakashi stood in front of the memorial stone with a stoic look on his face. He had just come back from another mission and decided to visit his old comrades. It had been busy for Kakashi since the village had been taking all kinds of missions in order to prevent other villages from thinking that their defenses were down. "Long day, huh?" "But that's what comes from being a shinobi," Jiraiya said from behind Kakashi. Kakashi turned to the sage with an eye smile. "It's not so bad," he said. "What brings you here, Lord Jiraiya?" "I came here to talk about a certain student of yours," Jiraiya said with his arms crossed. "I take it you're talking about Naruto?" Kakashi asked with a chuckle. "What do you want to talk about?" "I'll be taking over his teachings from now on," Jiraiya said in a serious tone. "What?" Kakashi asked in confusion. "I know he's a Chunin now, but that doesn't mean that he is out of Team 7. "I know that," Jiraiya stated. "I will be taking Naruto on a training trip in only 1 month." Kakashi frowned, not liking the idea. "I've only started training Naruto," he argued. "In order to make my team stronger, I'll need him to be here." "That's not the point," the Toad Sage said with a frown. "There's a group looking for people like Naruto." Kakashi's eyes widened. A group searching for Jinchuriki hadn't been heard of before. They consist of several S-class ninja. In order for Naruto to be ready, I'll have to teach him everything I know. I didn't come here to ask, I came here to tell you that Naruto was going with me. I understand, Kakashi said with a sigh. When do you think they'll start looking for Naruto? Jiraiya sighed. I don't know, he admitted, information on them is pretty scarce. From what I know about seals, I assume that in order to contain the Kyuubi a large amount of chakra is needed. Meaning that Naruto will be the last one they'll attempt to capture. What group is this? Kakashi asked with a narrowed eye. Akatsuki, Jiraiya said with a frown. Naruto and Ino sat next to each other on top of the Hokage monument. Naruto figured that telling Ino here would be easier since this place brought him peace. The blonde was really nervous about telling Ino. Her reaction would tell him how everyone else would think of him. He turned his gaze at Ino and gulped. Ino was nervous for other reasons. She thought that Naruto would ask her to be his girlfriend and she didn't know what to think. Having Naruto as a boyfriend would be great, but it was way too soon for her. She wasn't prepared emotionally for what Naruto was going to ask her and didn't know how she was going to react. Ino, Naruto muttered, getting the attention of the blonde. Funny dinner, huh? The blonde scolded himself for being an idiot. Yeah, Ino said with a small smile, remembering their dinner. Naruto hadn't talked much, but she assumed it was because her dad kept glaring at him. I have to do this, Naruto told himself with a determined expression. Ino, I have something important to tell you, he declared with his gaze fixed on Ino's eyes. Ino blushed. Sure, Naruto, she said with a nervous expression. What I have to tell you is not going to be pretty, Naruto said in a serious tone. Ino looked confused. If he wasn't going to ask her out, then what was he going to do? It's really hard for me to tell you this, but I feel like I have to tell you. What is it? Ino asked. Naruto turned his gaze to the village. Ino saw a sad look on Naruto's eyes and wondered what he was going to tell her. Did you ever wonder why I didn't have any friends when I was a kid? Or why people look at me differently?
Ino found herself nodding. She really didn't know.
Whenever she and Naruto walked through the village, people would often give him looks of fear mixed with anger. She had thought that Naruto was oblivious to the looks, but now knew otherwise.
Do you remember what Shikamaru said about Gaara when I was about to fight him alone?
Naruto asked her as he met her eyes.
Ino nodded, remembering that Shikamaru had told her that Gaara had a demon inside of him, people like Gaara.
They're called
Jinchuriki.
Naruto's gaze turned back to the village and Ino saw a look of pain on his eyes. Gaara was treated pretty harshly when growing up.
Nobody wanted to be near him and they tried to ignore him. What does that have to do with what you're telling me?
Ino asked in slight worry, putting two and two together.
When the village was attacked by the Kyuubi, the fourth wasn't able to beat it, like we were told in class, Naruto said in a hurt tone. The fourth realized that in order to stop the Kyuubi he had to seal it into someone. Ino's eyes widened and she looked at Naruto in worry. He sealed it into a baby that had nothing to do with the fox. A tear ran down Naruto's cheek. Naruto, Ino said in a sad tone.
She already knew what he was about to say but had to make sure. Who was it sealed into? Naruto wiped the tear away and gazed at the sky. It was sealed into me, he said with a frown. I never really knew why the fourth chose me.
I guess it was just my luck, but I don't blame him for it.
I know that he was looking out for the whole village and sealing the fox into me was the only way to save everyone. Naruto's eyes widened when he felt Ino wrap her arms around him.
It's okay, Naruto, Ino said with tears threatening to fall. What? Naruto asked in disbelief.
He hadn't been expecting her to accept him so easily.
It's okay, Naruto, she repeated a little louder.
She rested her head against Naruto's neck and hugged him a little harder. I never really thought that you had to carry such a burden for all of us.
Naruto, you always looked so happy, why didn't you tell anyone about it?
Naruto returned the hug and closed his eyes. I was always scared of my friends looking at me the same way the villagers do, he admitted with a few tears welling up on his eyes. I thought that if I looked happy then my friends wouldn't see that I was in pain. You don't have to be strong anymore, Naruto, Ino said with tears running down her cheeks. You don't have to be strong around me. Just let it all out, I'll always be there for you.
Tears ran down Naruto's face as he tightened his grip on Ino.
Thank you, Naruto said before breaking down, holding on to Ino as if she were his lifeline.
It'll be all right, Naruto, Ino whispered as tears ran down her cheeks.
She hadn't known that Naruto was in such pain. It made her feel bad that she hadn't done anything for her friend. The blonde had saved the village from destruction and had been rewarded with nothing but pain. She would be there for him from now on and she'd be damned if anyone ever hurt Naruto again. Naruto smiled as he made his way to Konoha's gate. It was morning and the sun was creeping in the horizon. It was time for Naruto and Jiraiya to leave in search of Tsunade, and he would be doing so in high spirits. The blonde saw the gate in the distance and his eyes widened when he saw Ino standing there.
Ino?
Naruto muttered in a confused tone.
The blonde made his way to the kunoichi and smiled. What are you doing here?
Ino put her hands on her hips and smiled.
You didn't think I would let you leave without seeing you off, did you?
Naruto laughed nervously and scratched the back of his head in response. Ino sighed, seriously Naruto, sometimes you're just too clueless.
I couldn't agree more, came Jiraiya's voice. The two blondes turned to see Jiraiya approaching them with a grin. Naruto pouted.
At least I'm not a pervert like you, Jiraiya-sensei, he argued.
How dare you?
Jiraiya asked with an offended look. I'm not a pervert.
I am a super pervert.
Let's just go already, Naruto said with a sigh before turning to Ino with a smile. I'll see you soon, Ino.
Ino nodded with a smile.
Just remember that you will take me out wherever I want when you come back, she said with a smirk, or did you forget that you promised to do anything I asked? Of course not, Naruto said with a pout before breaking into a grin. I'll be back soon.
This is good.
This is good, Jiraiya muttered as he wrote furiously on his notebook.
What are you doing? Naruto exclaimed with a frown, "Let's just go already."
The blonde walked out of the village with Jiraiya still writing on his notebook.
Ino watched the pair leave with a smile.
She and Naruto had grown a lot closer thanks to him telling her about his burden.
She now knew what her answer would be if Naruto ever asked her out.
Ino giggled before leaving the scene in order to go help out at the shop.
Orochimaru walked alongside his follower, Kabuto, towards a certain town. He had received information on the whereabouts of Tsunade.
If he could find her and convince her to heal Kimimaro, then he could fill the spot Sakan and Yukon left vacant on the Sound 4. He could also use Kimimaro as his new host body when the time came. "Kabuto," Orochimaru said with a smirk, "when we find Tsunade, I want you to take care of her assistant." "I will have it done, Lord Orochimaru," Kabuto said with a smirk of his own.
"Tsunade won't escape me," Orochimaru said with a sinister smirk.
Naruto and Jiraiya walked down a road that led to the town where, according to Jiraiya, Tsunade would pay constant visits to a casino. Jiraiya had told him that their search would begin there and promised to teach him a new jutsu, which he hadn't yet.
"When are you going to teach me that new jutsu?" Naruto asked with a frown.
Jiraiya sighed.
"If I teach you what to do, will you stop bothering me?"
"Of course,"
Naruto exclaimed happily.
"Fine," Jiraiya said as he walked to the nearest tree. He held up his right hand. "Watch my hand closely." Chakra gathered around Jiraiya's hand and took the form of a blue sphere of nothing but compressed chakra.
"Rasengan!" Jiraiya exclaimed as he struck the tree with the attack.
The sphere drilled into the tree before exploding, leaving a large hole on the tree.
"Wow! That's amazing!" Naruto exclaimed in excitement.
The tree snapped in half and fell on the ground, kicking up a small cloud of dust. Jiraiya smirked. "In order to learn this you have to complete 3 steps, he explained. The sage reached into his bag and took out a balloon. Using a few hand signs, the toad sage filled the balloon with water before putting it on his hand. "In the first step you have to pop this balloon with your chakra only.
When you finish the step I'll teach you the next."
"You got it, Jiraiya-sensei,"
Naruto said with a smile.
The toad sage gave him a balloon already filled with water and the blonde got to work. Jiraiya grinned as he saw his student attempt to pop the balloon. The two began to walk again with Naruto working on the balloon as he walked. The sage hoped that this trip wouldn't take that long. Tsunade was hard to find, but if he really wanted to find her then he would do so in a few days. He wished that the trip would be uneventful, but knowing his luck that wouldn't happen.